Welcome to your next episode of
Fandom Family Chats.
This is a production of Family Fan Clubs on Facebook. You can find us all over Facebook. You can find us all over social media under Fandom Family Chats. Look us up, get dialed in, get plugged in, and get ready to listen to some crazy people talk crazy stuff. I'm Maureen.
I'm Amanda.
I'm Jeanette.
And today we're talking Teen Wolf relationships. Now, this is such a huge topic. We're going two-parter for you guys. Two-parter. That's what this is your Christmas gift. We are talking Teen Wolf relationships for 2 weeks. There's going to be a week in between, but still 2 weeks you get a Teen Wolf and relationships. And we are going to start, I think, with probably the best one.
The best couple in all of TV history, in my opinion.
TV history. Whoa.
I do. I love them so much. So it's Stylia, Styles and Lydia. I remember when I first watched this show, of course, I got obsessed with Styles and Dylan pretty quickly. So I know, who would have thought? Here, I'll show off my mug. Anyone that watches.
All Dylan O'Brien, all the
lots
time.
of Dylan.
All the faces of Dylan.
But so of course, when you get obsessed with someone like everyone else, you just go to YouTube and you watch everything you possibly can about them. And so I kept seeing him and Lydia in these videos. I'm like, awesome, this looks really good. I can't wait. So I'm watching and it's not happening. And then we finally got to the one kiss in season 3 and I was like, okay, here we go. And then it's not happening. I was so frustrated. I was like, when is this going to actually be something? So, season 6 comes along. We finally are. In the first half of season
but
6.
that wasn't enough.
It was not enough. Not even close.
I mean, she kissed him once in season 6, and they didn't really classify that they were together. You just assumed because of how they were reacting with each other.
Yep. Yeah.
But
it was
I want so much more.
It was it's this. I tell people that start the show, I think I told you all, it's this. It is the slowest burn that you have ever seen on a show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And what's funny is there's so many moments leading up to it that should have been the moments that they realize that they like each other, and then no, they don't. But no, I don't know. I love them. I think that it was completely known that they were going to end up together, simply because every time something goes wrong, they are worried about each other. They are running straight to each other. There's so many moments when, they're definitely each other's top priorities. They save each other's lives several times. So I think it was, we knew it was all going to happen. Just wished it happened sooner,
Yeah.
2 scenes that are my favorite of them too. Go ahead, Amanda.
No, I was just going to say the same thing. My first time I watched it, or am watching it, the whole time, every time I'm like, when is it going to happen?
And the bummer is you never stop saying that. Even when the very last episode airs, you're still saying when. It's just so depressing.
It reminds me kind of, now I'm just thinking about it, it kind of reminds me of Ross and Rachel.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until the very last episode that we really got certainty that they will be hopefully together, but they still left it kind of vague.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like that. You kind of use your own imagination.
Not here.
No. I'd like to see it, please.
Because there's so many times
I would definitely like
series,
to see more, but
there's so many times throughout Teen Wolf where you assume, okay, they're together, but then you find out, oh wait, so they're not? And that happens over and over and over and over again in the show. And it's just I'm gonna murder you if you do this one more time.
If you were just someone that popped in an episode here and there, the way they act with each other, you would just assume that they are a couple.
Yeah, it's true.
And they're not for most of the show.
I kind of, not forever, but I did kind of we're not going to talk about them for a long time, but her and Parrish, I liked their vibe.
Yeah, me too.
That was the only relationship of hers that actually got me
over Styles and
okay,
Lydia?
maybe it's okay for her not to be with Styles.
I would agree with that, because I felt the same, because he was with Malia, which I also feel was the only time when I was like, okay, well, this is
same,
maybe okay.
I really liked him with Malia.
Yeah,
at the beginning.
I'm glad it just, I don't know. I think I would have been really disappointed if it didn't eventually come back to him and Lydia.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And yeah, they
I-
should be like, I would like to see the other relationships play out, but I would like them to be endgame. Even if it did end like Friends, where, you know, Rachel decided not to go to Paris to stay with Ross, and we have that confirmation,
Yeah.
sure, fine. As long as they are end game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. But the two scenes
Yeah.
that I really like are after that Knight Rider thing. And he's like, do you
Mhm.
remember what I told you? And she's like, what did he say? Remember, I love you. And
Remember,
then
I
he
love
came
you.
back and she's like, I didn't say it back.
You
And they
didn't have
kiss.
to.
And it's like, finally we're here. And that was the one defining moment. You're like, okay, this is it. We are
Yeah.
getting Styles and Lydia now. And
Yeah.
then we don't get a Styles and Lydia. Like,
Yeah.
this
I
was
know.
your opening to push it. And you didn't give it to us at all. And then in the last episode when she meets Jackson and Styles kept saying, yeah, but I mean, like,
Okay,
I
that's
did this. It's
Yeah.
just company.
I love when they're embracing, you know, like after she's first saying it, and Styles like, okay, that's enough, and like breaks them back up. Like, done
when he
with
says
that.
he's with Ethan, Styles is like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they're all like Ethan. So confused. No, I mean, my gosh, I have so many favorite scenes. Like, did you say your second favorite scene?
I just said those are two of my favorites.
Oh, okay. So like, I thought that was just like one.
I haven't ranked my Styles and Lydia scenes, but
Well, they're
Dylan
not
O'Brien is your
ranked.
favorite human of all time. So
I just have
assuming
a
you some.
page full of them. They're not ranked. though.
Why don't we let Amanda say some of hers first?
Yeah, and then I'll just fill in the gaps. Whatever you all don't say, I can mention.
Oh, is it me?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Tell us what you love about them or what scenes.
It's
like,
favorite
just started
Styles and Lydia
talking.
moments. Not all of them, just a couple.
I was
That's
up
for
late
your
last
benefit,
night.
Jeanette.
All
I
right.
probably still have some left over. So
My favorite Styles and Lydia moment. Oh man.
Favorite scenes. It doesn't even have to be your type, because I didn't rank mine. And those are just two that when I think of Styles and Lydia, that pops into my head.
I think about it's kind of like where I'm at right now in the show. It's still in my mind of when he sees her in that hospital. And that just it broke my heart because he fights so hard for her.
yeah.
And just against her mom and everything. It just
Mm-hmm.
that
And
part.
doesn't she even tell him in there to not worry about her, to go? And he's like,
Yeah.
no, I'm not leaving without you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think he has to, like, she gets him to leave because they're coming back, but he comes back. And I think she even says that, like, you came back. And but when that scene where he like rushes through those doors,
Mhm.
Yeah.
it's just like, oh my gosh. Because you got to think too, he's not anything supernatural. He has no powers whatsoever.
Yeah.
But the way he rushes in there, not even knowing really what's behind that door or what could happen to him, he just runs to her rescue.
Mhm.
Yep. I think that's my favorite scene so far. I haven't.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Finish.
publicly shame Amanda and say she has not finished Teen Wolf. She's still on season 5.
Yeah. I think I'm like on 512,
Okay.
Not
Or
good
5.
enough.
516. Somewhere around there.
All right.
I'm somewhere around there. I'll get on it. It's because I'm stuck on 911 right now. Y'all.
I know.
I can't watch anything else.
So good.
I'm almost caught up though on all of it.
I'm not even close.
So addicting.
So Jeanette, what were some of your, now you can't go through all 7,000 of your favorite Stylia moments.
Okay.
So give us just a couple. And then
All right.
maybe if there's time, we'll do some honorable mentions with the rest of them.
Okay. So let's see. Well, one of my favorites is like early on, and it's when Lydia is, I gotta lump these together. Oh, all right. I'm gonna say this first one. When she's crying in her car,
Oh
and
yeah.
he comes up, and I have the quote written down because I think it's so wonderful. He says, "You shouldn't care if people see you cry, especially you, because I think you look really beautiful when you cry." And I'm like, oh my God, that's like, girl, how did you not like fall for him?
Right?
I don't get it. And I know Jackson's hot and all, but come on. Like, he's a
Yeah, but
jerk.
he's a jerk.
Yes. And you got Styles. He's
And
so
Styles
sweet.
was also the one who told her that she doesn't have to pretend not to be smart, that he sees how
Yeah.
smart she is.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
loved that.
I will say
Um,
my favorite Styles Lydia moment too. I'm just gonna add one more in there. I know it's your turn, but just one more.
Go ahead. I got plenty.
It's in episode 1 when she was walking past him, and he's like, oh, there's Lydia. She's gonna walk right by me and pretend I don't exist. And then he looks at Scott, and he's like, you just had me scarlet nerded.
Yep. What does he say? He's like had a crush on her since 3rd grade.
Yep.
I'm like, that's dedication. She like has no idea who he is. Like, I mean, barely. She's like, what's your name? Like, who are you? Oh, too much. But no, another one is of my favorites is still early on too, when they end up going to that dance together.
Get your cute little ass up off that chair.
Yes, that's exactly it. It says, Lydia, get your cute little ass up and dance with me now. And she does. And he also tells her there too that I think you look really beautiful. And that little look on her face was just like, which is because I mean she is beautiful, but you can tell by her reactions that Jackson isn't telling her that she's beautiful, because she seems so surprised to hear somebody say that to her.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like,
I think Jackson only thinks himself as beautiful.
I know, which he is. I mean,
he
we
is.
won't deny that, but still.
Not with that attitude.
Oh, obviously the panic attack kiss is like their first kiss. I mean, that one stands out to me huge too.
Oh yeah.
Especially like once you get to season 6 and you find out in her words that that's when it all changed, even for her. She just didn't say anything. That's because I think that's what she says, right? That, you know, that's when it all changed. That's when I, you know, fell in love with him or whatever.
Yeah.
But that scene is just so, the look on his face when they pull back from the kiss, he's so shocked and like, I don't know. I love, that's probably my favorite. That is probably my number 1 favorite scene, even though I was disappointed afterwards because I'm like, why is something not happening from this? But, you know.
Yeah.
And then like just the other times, I mean, they're not even like full moments, but just any time that something happens, after they find out Aiden died, the way like she runs into his arms. I think there's another scene, I can't remember what they're doing there, but he's embracing her, and just the way they embrace each other. It's not like a friendship embrace, guys. It's not.
It involves all of their body and all of themselves.
Yes. His hands are always on her face and on the back of her head, and I've examined these scenes pretty closely. But I have.
Imagine her face on top of Lydia's.
I mean, I wouldn't be disappointed. No, and then the electrocution scene, like where they're standing in that water at that hotel and Scott, they're all being that possessed or whatever. And I mean, when Styles steps in, you know, that's a good moment for just Scott and Styles. He steps in there to like save him, but she's the one that like pushes them out of the way.
Yep.
And I mean, it's to save Styles because she kind of freaks when he steps in there too. So, I don't know. And then of course their last scene before he gets taken by the Ghost Riders, that whole like speech that he gives, everything leading up to it, when they first find out, you know, he's like, you have to get away from me, and she says, I'm not going to leave you. And then of course the whole speech in the car of, you know, remember, you're the first girl I ever danced with, remember, you know, all those things that he tells her, and then remember, I love you. And he said, you're going to forget, and she says, I won't. Like, that whole scene stands out in my mind so much, because it
was so raw, and it was so vulnerable, and it was so authentic to who those characters were.
Yeah.
And I like too that with that, and this is why they need to be endgame. As much as I liked her with Parrish, I was ambivalent about him and Malia, but I really liked her with Parrish. Like, I liked her with him a lot.
Yeah.
But this right here, to me, that scene or that whole storyline is kind of, for me, what cements them as they need to be the final couple or the endgame, because they parallel each other a lot.
Yeah,
when she was in the hospital, Styles fought everyone to get to her. When he was in the Knight Rider storyline and he was missing, she didn't know she was fighting for him, but she fights for him constantly. That one scene where she's leaning up against the same wall that he's leaning up against, and she's crying, and he's really despondent because no one's going to find me. They're constantly chasing after another one, constantly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could also say, like, when he's possessed by the Nagitsune, and, you know, she goes in there to get him. She rescues him then too. And then when they all have to go in those ice baths, I mean, she's his anchor. I mean, that's the one that gets chosen to be his anchor. So I think it's set up from the very beginning that they have a bond unlike anyone else on the show.
Yeah.
So
a funny scene with them. The last one we'll say before we get into Scott. We've been on here for like 20 minutes, and we've only talked But Styles is our favorite. I think I can speak for all of us when I say Styles is our favorite character on the entire show.
Yeah.
Accurate for everybody else. I mean, Jen, I don't need to ask, but that scene where she calls him, and he comes to the pool because she found the dead body. He's like, "You called the police first? Do you want me to call you before I call the police when I find a dead body?" Yes. The next time she calls him before the cops, like, "Did you find the dead body?" "No, I'm not finding any more dead bodies. That's you know." So even then, they weren't anything, and he was she treated him almost like a nuisance but she wanted to be around, like an annoying friend. He was still the first one she called willingly. She called the cops because she felt she had to, but she called him because she wanted him there. So even when they aren't together, she craves his presence in the same way he craves hers.
Yeah.
And there's something really sweet about that.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Agreed.
Leader and Scott and Kira.
Okay. So next, my favorite, obviously we said my favorite Styles couple. My favorite Scott couple is actually Scott and Kira. What do y'all think about them?
Mine too.
Oh yeah. They're my favorite couple. They're in the top 2 or 3 of my favorite couples.
Yeah.
Not my first. My first is Styles and Lydia, of course.
Yeah.
But after that, I really like Scott and Kira together.
Is that your favorite Scott relationship, or do you prefer one of his others?
You know, I have little things I liked about all of them, actually. That's really hard because I loved him and Allison at the very beginning.
Yes.
I ended up, they fell off, of course, and so I fell off of it.
Yeah.
But it was like easy to get over.
Yeah.
I liked him, but I liked him with Kira the best, I think.
Yeah.
I think that was they matched each other well.
Mm-hmm.
I think he needed to be with somebody that
in his world
he could be himself around all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And that challenged him. And I think that's pretty much what I think. I liked it the way they challenged each other.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a normal relationship.
Yeah.
I feel like Allison, it was so hard because they hunted him.
Yeah.
It kind of went against her family, which they always went back and forth about.
Mm-hmm.
But with Kira, she was special.
Yeah.
New. And so I feel like they could understand each other a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
And there was more chemistry, I feel like, between them. I thought that they would stay together, to be honest.
I did too. They were if we're talking, I think of all the couples on the show, they're the longest standing relationship on the show.
What, 3 years?
Yeah. Or 3 seasons, I guess. Anyways, yeah. So but I always thought their energies matched better than it did with Allison. Like, they were both kind of goofy, kind of awkward at times, but it was a really sweet relationship when they got together.
Absolutely.
And then of course, her having, the fox powers, it was similar to what he had. And so, I think they understood each other on those levels too.
Yeah.
Like when he first sees her in action.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just love his reaction. He's like, you could just see that instant fall in love.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I like that Scott is the one who first noticed she had powers because she didn't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Scott was the one to introduce them. Yeah, absolutely. And I do love the first dinner he has at her house.
Yes. Me too.
Remind me how that was. I don't remember exactly, but he didn't want sushi, but he ate sushi. Is that right? Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Yes.
He was bragging about how much he loved sushi and how much he liked all this Japanese culture and all these different things that he loved, and he never had any before, and he didn't actually like the sushi, and just it was so awkward, and it was amazing, and I loved it because that is one of the reasons that you're endeared to them, because they're both super awkward people.
Yeah.
And I love, like, when Scott gets confused, he's confused.
Yeah.
He has no, like, I'm gonna be so cool and I'm not gonna show you I'm confused. He's like, wait, what? I don't know. What are you talking about? And Kira's the same way.
Yeah.
when she doesn't understand something, it's very, but why?
Yeah.
So they match well in that neither one of them are really concerned about others' opinions.
Yeah. No,
But
I
they
agree with
both
that.
have a deep, abiding compassion for other people too.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
One of my favorite scenes. It's kind of, well, there's kind of two scenes. First, too, like their first kiss, which is like super, like it just kind of happens and they're like
Mhm.
kind of stunned by it. And then again, when he tells her that he loves her and it's sort of like in a passing moment and she's like,
Oh,
wait, what? Like, so I think that just speaks to how awkward they
Mhm.
both are, and just the
Yeah.
fact that both of those moments were also awkward. That I think
Yeah.
it's funny that that's the way it played out. Like,
And it's funny that Scott didn't pick up on the fact that it was awkward.
Yeah.
And
No,
they
I
just
know.
decided.
He's got a lot on his mind, poor guy.
And Kira just like agonizes over this. And even with the I love you, when she sort of confronts him in like a
Yeah.
roundabout way about, well, what if someone says something that they didn't know that they said, but they meant to say it, but they didn't know if they meant they said it.
I know.
And that was another time when Scott was like, what?
Huh?
So even that just cements them that they're the best couple together, I think.
I think so. Yeah, definitely.
I don't know. My favorite part of them was when they were apart for those few months.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
When they were
then-
apart, is your favorite part of them?
No, like when they were apart and they
They come back.
come
Oh,
back
yeah,
and they're
yeah.
running between the cars.
Yeah.
They could like just like sense each other.
Yeah.
I
Well,
love
I
that.
feel like it's cute too whenever she stays with the skinwalkers and then he goes back to get her, and just the way she's like, you came back for me. And I think that was really sweet too. He's like, of course, because I mean,
Yeah.
that was something that once they were all ready, he's like, I'm gonna go get Kira, you
Yep.
know, and they all like, let's go do it. I really wish they'd brought her. I don't know. I wish they had been in game. I felt like that moment there made me feel like they were gonna be. So I mean, I don't
Do we
know.
know why did she want to leave the show? Was that their
not
plan? Do
sure.
we know?
Honestly, I'm not sure.
I feel like they were such a
They
fan
could
favorite
have
that
been
had to
setting
be
it
the
up.
reason.
Yeah,
Because I don't think the writers would have written her off when they were such a fan favorite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I didn't understand it either, so I don't know.
That's something we have to look up.
We do. We need to find that out because
Yeah.
I mean, it's no secret that I'm not a fan of his last relationship that they had on the show, but it's just
Really? You didn't like it?
no.
I know I haven't seen it yet.
It felt really
But-
forced. Could I
Oh.
like it had they given it plenty of time to like flesh it out? Maybe, because I think
Yeah.
they're well matched. I think they could be well matched in like, I don't know. I think there's potential, but the way it was done, I couldn't get on board.
See,
So.
I haven't seen it yet, so I can't really speak about it, but
Physically, they have great chemistry, like physical chemistry, I think. But it just felt weird. I don't know.
I feel like she's
I was
too-
surprised. Like, what? Like, this
Yeah.
is happening? So I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like I'm trying to think of the words right now, and I had them in my head just a second ago. I swear. Like they feel nope. Mm-mm.
They feel
Yep.
What word?
It's gone, y'all. Like gone.
I think
Whatever.
that Kira and Scott were on the same physical and emotional wavelength too. And I
Mhm.
think that that's why it made so much sense, is because
Yeah.
even though they weren't the same person, they weren't always doing the same
Mhm.
things physically and emotionally and mentally. They were on the same wavelength.
Yeah. Well, I just thought of another favorite moment. And I saw it earlier because I was trying to look up Scott and Kira like scenes just so I could like kind of figure out what my favorite ones were. And it's after she goes to find Brett and like those other wolves.
Oh, okay.
And they come back together, and just when they, he first asks, he's like, how's your mom? And she's like, she's fine. And then he was like, and how are you? And it's just such an intense, like the way he asks, like, how are you?
Yeah.
It's not like, how are you? It's like so intense. And so he was so worried about her and so genuine in those.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, it felt like a really good moment of them. I think it showed how much they loved each other.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it makes me sad that they didn't work out.
I am sad.
She's
about
still
that.
with the skinwalkers, this poor girl. I don't know.
Yeah. So what I'm reading right here not about them in real life, but in the show,
Yeah.
It says their relationship ended when Kira made the difficult decision to return to Shiprock to train with the Skinwalkers. As she had no idea how long it would be gone, but knew she would have to stay however long it took to regain control over her immense powers. Though Scott has since moved on and begun another romantic relationship, in the 3 years since she left, they remain friends and allies to this day.
So maybe
that's how they ended it.
Maybe in the Teen Wolf movie.
I hope so.
Maybe Kira can be back.
I mean, this is from fandom.com, which is usually pretty.
Yeah. Surely she'll be done with the Skinwalkers by now.
Is she going to be in the movie?
I don't know.
It hasn't. There's been so many unconfirmed about that movie.
Yeah, there's like, I think only like 3 or 4 confirmed cast members. It's not clear. Because even on imdb.com, they've got people on there, but it says unconfirmed. I mean, it's not.
Oh,
we don't know.
That's where I'm at right now. I'm seeing it. Man, everybody get on board.
Yeah. I know. Hopefully we'll get more Styles and Lydia too. We didn't say that, but we better.
Okay, so there is a blue Jeep that I've seen several times on my way to the bigger city where I live by.
Yeah.
And it looks just like his Jeep. And one of the lights is out sometimes when I see it. Like, is Dylan O'Brien here in Wisconsin?
I mean, if you find out he is, I'll buy a plane ticket tomorrow.
Oh, that's what it takes to come and see me. I get it.
Yep. That's what it takes.
So hold Dylan hostage in your house and she'll come see you.
Okay, Dylan, if that ever happens, know that it's not my fault. And I was
I'll
forced
take
to
responsibility.
Do it.
It's fine.
I
could have actually got a plane ticket to come see you for $20 the other day.
What?
I got an email.
And you didn't follow through on it. Why?
Oh, sorry, family. I'm gonna go to Marine's house for Christmas this year.
Oh, it's for Christmas.
It was like, I think like the week after or something like that. It was like tickets
Let's
like
do
$20
New Year's together. Come on.
They'll be good with their new toys and stuff. They don't
Exactly.
need you.
I seriously thought about it though. I even looked at like seats and stuff.
We should have a big Wisconsin New Year's party in the snow.
See, that just made me like, no, thank you.
You guys,
We're completely expressionless
in winter. I'll give you a break of the snow.
I forgot you got a whole bunch of snow and stuff. No,
I don't have any snow yet. I got nothing.
We don't either. It's 65 degrees today.
Well, it's not
This is
65
so nice
degrees,
today.
but we have nothing.
All right. So from Scott, we're going to go to my second favorite guy. Comes in very close. Again, imagine them piggybacking on top of each other.
Now that's a funny image.
This imagery is just amazing.
I love it.
Imagine them just piggybacking on each other. Derek. I love Derek, and I don't really like the character of Derek.
You don't like his character?
He's not my favorite because he's very serious and stoic, and I like more comedy. That's why I like Styles just a little bit more. Like Styles is definitely carrying Derek.
Yeah.
Like it's not the other way around. But what did you guys think of Derek and Braden's relationship? I can keep going.
I was sort of confused by it at first, but it makes sense because they're both so hyper intense.
Yeah.
And they're both kind of badass. So
yeah,
it fits.
Yeah.
I like at first, and I think because his last relationship was with the teacher who was basically murdering virgins.
Yeah.
And sacrificing.
By the way, I really loved until we found out
I
that she was the
know
one doing this. And I was like,
and she was one who like made Derek happy. So I feel like with Braden, he went with it doesn't matter if it makes me happy if it feels right. It's not about being happy all the time. And so I think that because I think for Derek, he was looking for a relief from the heavy. Yeah. And that teacher brought the relief from the heavy, but with Braden, it's just like stepping into the heavy.
Yeah.
And I think that teacher kind of brought him to that place of it's okay to stay here because this is who I am and this is what I do. So I think that was a good thing about him and Braden is that she brought that on to him. And I know we don't see a lot of Derek and Braden because it's like they get together and then they leave.
Yeah.
So we don't get a lot of them, but I mean, they're really pretty together too, because I think Derek, I remember the very first episode I saw, it was when you see Derek in the woods. And I was like, in our Teen Wolf chat, I was like, oh, wow, he's pretty into Derek. And Jeanette was like, yeah.
Eh.
She waved him off to Amanda.
There's something about old Derek that just doesn't do it for. But now I will
Old
say,
Derek?
like old, yeah, like for season 1, season 2 Derek. I'm not.
Oh, okay.
But like Tyler Hoechlin right now,
He can swim in your pool.
he can swim in my pool. Absolutely, he can.
I love Derek. So I like seeing someone who lets him be who he is. And while I liked him with that teacher, I don't think Derek Hale, maybe Tyler Hoechlin is different, but Derek Hale is not one who can really be kind of light and free and loose.
Oh no. Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
just
I
needs
agree.
someone who's
Yeah.
strong enough to come alongside and help carry the heaviness that he has.
Yes.
Because I mean, who he is, what he is, kind of, I mean, look at Scott. They're both werewolves, and it's the heavy just comes with that because of what you are.
Yeah.
And so with Braden, she's strong enough to help protect and fight alongside him, and he won't have to fight to protect her. I mean, he will,
Yeah.
but she can cover her own, carry her own. And I think that's what Derek needs. So I think that relationship, the more I thought about it, the more sense it made.
Yeah. No, I really liked him. I wish we had seen more because I mean, I think like Derek, and I think that's what it was. He was always so serious. I would have loved to have gotten to see. Obviously, I know we weren't going to see like a ton of like romance from Derek. That's not him. But like just a little bit, just a few scenes here, I think would have been really nice just to kind of lighten the mood when it came to Derek.
Yeah.
In my opinion. So, and Braden,
Yeah.
like you said, they worked. I mean, like they fit really well together. So
Mhm.
I was into it.
I always thought that they would give Derek some kind of humor at some point.
Yeah.
He was funny.
He was funny at there were
Like little bitty moments.
right
I
scene
thought
partner,
he would
he
like
was
lighten
fun.
up as years went
Oh.
on.
And
he
I think
never did.
I think we'll see that in the team. If he's in the team with Hulu, I think we'll see that if he's still with Braden, because if someone comes alongside you and helps carry the heavy, then you're not as heavy, and then you have more room to be light. But if you're with someone who's just like happy, laughing all the time, then you're still carrying that heavy all by yourself.
Yeah, true.
And you're carrying all the heavy for the other person. But I think that he and Braden are so equally matched that I think in the new movie, if they're still together, we'll see a little bit lighter version of him.
Yeah, that would be nice, I think.
And I just thought of, this is a Teen Wolf relationships episode, but it's romantic because some of my favorite relationships with Derek are with Styles and Isaac.
Oh, absolutely.
And we are not talking romantic relationships. We're just talking, we're not talking all relationships, just romantic ones.
A lot of people want Styles and Derek. I do not, but it is out there in the fan base. Like people are into it.
I like seeing them as friends.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Friends is okay. No.
So the other, and I think the great thing about Derek and Braden too, is that they start off kind of enemies, but become friends before their relationship. And there's another couple that did that, was Mason and Cory, because Cory was originally with the Dread Doctors. So he and Mason were enemies at first, and who became friends.
And they are like one of my favorite couples as well, even though they're not in it for like a long period of time. One, because I mean, I feel about Mason like I do about Styles and Lydia. I mean, he's one of my absolute favorite characters. He's just the sweetest. Mason. He does not get enough credit, I think, in the fandom. Not enough people talk about him. Because I think
it's because we only got him for a year or half a year.
But I think he's almost the equivalent of like, what's funny is I feel like he is like a mix of like Styles and Lydia for Liam, where like Scott was, because he's, like the best friend, but he's like super smart like Lydia was. So I think, he's that just regular person.
And it does feel like they were setting him and Liam up to be the new Scott and Styles.
I do too. And that would have been an interesting concept, I think. I don't know if I would have liked it because, without Dylan, I don't like the show. But no, but I really like him and Cory. I think one of my favorite things about them is where Cory can kind of, make himself invisible or whatever. That's one of his traits. Mason always knew where he was, even though he couldn't see him. And I thought that was a really nice thing to throw in there to just show the bond that they had. Because I mean, they even said, they're like, how do you know? And he's like, I can just feel him, like he's there. And I thought that was really sweet. But
I agree with that.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna make me go and watch season 6, aren't you?
They are probably
that's the goal.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta finish it, man. At least watch 6A. That's all about Styles.
Watch all of it.
It's about 6. It's 6B. That's
Ignore
hard to get through.
Jeanette.
I'll watch all of it. I mean, I'm not gonna watch 5 seasons and not finish one more.
There you go. That's the right attitude.
And I
That's the
enjoy
right
it. I really
attitude,
do.
Jeanette.
No, 6B is good. It's just it's hard when you're like so into like this character and then they're just gone. Like it's disappointing.
I did feel the same with Friday Night Lights though. In
I was
season
going to
5,
say it's like
I
Riggins
kept like
when Riggins
googling
gone.
when does Tim Riggins come back?
Yeah.
Does he come back? Is Tim Riggins off the show? Because I was so desperate. Like,
Exactly.
come on, he was the funny relief, and that's the other thing too is Styles was the funny relief, and they took him out.
Yeah.
We need to stop talking about Styles. We're talking about Mason and Cory right now.
It's gonna keep coming back.
Always comes back to Styles.
One thing I will say about Styles that is incorporated into Mason is I love that scene with them when they're saying goodbye. They're going out. They're going out to college, and Styles hands him a bat. He's like, "I don't play baseball." Yeah, neither do I.
So just take the bat. It's like a rite of passage. It was sweet. Take the bat, you know?
And I think that with Mason too, the other scene I like with him, and I think this is one of the reasons why he and Cory work well together because of their personalities.
Mm-hmm.
But with Mason, when he's first included into the fold and they're outside between those buses,
Yeah.
he's like, they just zoom in and he's just going like back and forth.
That's
You
so
know?
cool. Yeah.
Was it Styles who said, "Okay, he shouldn't be in the circle already"?
I think so, yeah.
Mason was so overcome with this is awesome, this is great. He wasn't fazed by it, and Cory
Yeah.
was so down about because he was a created hybrid.
Yeah.
He wasn't born that way, he was made that way. And I think Cory kind of hated himself a little bit. And Mason was such a good guy that he didn't make anyone feel like they weren't worth it because of what someone else has done to him. And I think Cory really, really needed that.
He did. Yeah, I agree with that. And then I mean, and I love too, like, I mean, when we talk about like the last season with the Wild Hunt for a second there, I couldn't think of the name of it. But I mean, like when they get Cory there too, I mean, I feel like that's, you know, here this whole time we're looking for Styles, but it's just as sad when Cory disappears because, you know, Mason's missing him, and my gosh, when they find him like hooked up to all that stuff, you know, and Mason's trying to get him loose, but they're like, you can't yet, you know, like this, we've got to figure out what to do first. But yeah, that was such a sad moment. But
and again, Mason just charged in there without any superpowers. Although he kind of had something because he was the solution to some problem to the
well,
drug
he had something for a little while. He was, gosh, it's all so strange stuff. Whatever that original like werewolf like took his body, right? For a little while.
Yeah, because he was the purest vessel or something like that. It was the Nazi took his body.
That's one of my least favorite storylines is the
I know.
wolf.
I didn't like
care
the
about
whole
her.
Dread Doctor
Or the
thing at
lion.
all, actually. I hated
I didn't like the Dread Doctor, so
I
that's
love
what
the
I'm in
Dread
right now.
Doctor.
It was so long and drawn out. I did not like the Dread Doctor storyline.
It was drawn out, but I liked the storyline because it was kind of, I don't know, it was kind of spooky.
What I liked about it was when Peter's like, and besides, no one likes a Nazi.
Yes. That's the same scene. This is off topic, but in that one, like Theo's saying, like, he's not in our pack. You know.
No, he was saying he was saying you're all in a pack, and Peter went, except me. I'm not with them. But no one likes a Nazi.
And I think but Malia said it about Theo too. She was like, he's not in it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, which I thought was funny. But yeah. But no, do y'all have any other moments about Cory and Mason that
No, because they didn't really highlight it enough. They just kind of made, and that was kind of the sad thing because Mason was a big deal, but they wrote him as background because Styles and Scott were still there. Yeah. And I think that my idea just watching this was that they were trying to build it into they become Styles and Scott.
Yeah.
So they kept them in the background, building them a little bit. So by the time Scott and Styles left, it made sense to focus on them.
Yeah.
So I don't think we got enough of Mason in general, and certainly not Mason and Cory.
I agree. So to like switch gears, from like Cory and Mason, a couple that I absolutely loved and really worked. I think a couple we had that I really didn't like much at all and didn't work was Lydia and Jackson. What did you all think about them?
I honestly, I did not like Lydia and Jackson.
Yeah.
I felt for them a couple of moments.
Yeah.
You know, like you can tell they had a bond.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could see that, but it wasn't it wasn't right. It didn't feel right.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
the further the episodes went when they were together, the more distance it felt like they had between them.
Yeah.
You can tell from the very beginning that they were going to fizzle out pretty fast.
Yeah.
I didn't think they were going to stay together. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't like them together. They're not one of my favorites.
Because they were the typical popular high school couple.
Yeah.
And that was all that was there. Like they did have a bond because I think they both
Yeah.
went through some stuff in their home life,
Yeah.
but they were together because it was expected rather than
Yeah.
because they were in love with each other.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think they definitely cared for each other. And I think we see that, you know, whenever, you know, that final scene where he like turns back from the Chimera and they're hugging, you know, I mean, I think that there was definitely like, she cared for him and he cared for her. I mean, she was the one that was able to get through to him.
Yeah.
And all of that. But yeah, I agree that I think it was nothing more than the popular couple that had been together for a while. So obviously, you know, they had love for each other, but not in love with each other at all.
And obviously in the final season, we see why.
Yeah.
But, for her, I think that she was just staying with someone who would give her the resources she needed to maintain her status because Jackson knew she was smart and didn't really care.
Yeah.
But not only did he not care that she was smart, he just generally didn't care unless he could get something from it. But I think that Lydia understood deeply that it was because he was troubled. I mean, he was adopted, that he had issues with that. There was, I mean, didn't his parents say that he struggled with being adopted, with the idea of being abandoned? He struggled with that. He was always trying to be the better, the best of everybody else, even to the point where he injected those things that he took to become the Chimera. And he thought that was going to make him greater than all things because he had a deep-rooted abandonment issue. And all he ever wanted to be was proving himself the best, as no one will ever leave me again. And I think Lydia kind of made him feel like he would never be alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she does that for everybody too. I mean, she didn't until that point. She didn't until she met McCall's pack instead of being one of them. But I think she certainly with Jackson. Jackson was the first relationship we see where she let him know, listen, I'm here and I'm always going to be here. So I think that there is another Jackson relationship. We're going to go into some honorable mentions now because those are like the big ones. There's 5 other big ones that we had that we're going to talk about in our part 2. But again, we're not going to do 5-hour episodes. But the other Jackson relationship is with Ethan.
Yeah.
That's speaking of why that relationship wasn't really going to work.
No, I think I love that. Was such a shocking moment to me when I saw that. Amanda, you haven't even seen this yet, but it's like the best scene ever.
You a little bit, sorry.
It's fine.
You know, I mean, just to hear, I think I was as shocked as like Styles is in that scene. I'm like, wait, like Ethan, like what?
I love how drawn out that was. Ethan. Yep. Ethan. Yes. Ethan.
And Lydia called on right away. I mean, I think she was in, like, she understood, like, yeah, okay, now I get it. But like Styles, like, wait, what?
Because he's Styles.
But I like seeing them together, like, it was so sweet. And I didn't think I could ever, I mean, I've always been a Jackson fan, but it's one of those where I think it was because he was an interesting character to me.
Not because
and I love Colton Haynes. So like that helped. But but he was sweet with Ethan, and I really, that's a couple that I hope is still together and that is in game.
They have to be, right?
I think so. I mean, I will be very disappointed, and I would love to see more of them, because how great would it be to see Jackson in a healthy relationship and actually get to watch that play out on screen? I would love that.
Oh yeah.
And the only reason this is an honorable mention is because we don't see any of this other than the last 2 episodes of the entire series. That's why it's an honorable mention, because you get 2 episodes and not even a full 2 episodes. It's like 1.5.
Yeah.
And I will say that one line that really, really made me laugh and really grossed me out at the same time was when they were talking about his tail. And he was like, he used his tail, didn't he? He's like, yeah. And Ethan just goes, oh, it's so gross. Because it is gross.
It is. I don't know. They're so funny.
And I like seeing them together because Jackson is still Jackson.
Yes.
His jerkiness is actually played off like a joke now, as opposed to sincere a-hole.
Yeah.
And so
That's good.
Ethan calmed that in him, and he didn't ask him to change. He didn't want him to change, but Jackson just refueled that from I'm going to be an outright jerk to I'm just going to be sarcastic at all times, which personally, that's my sweet spot. So I love that version of Jackson.
And for me too, like, cause I was never really a fan of the twins either way. I didn't dislike them really, but I didn't really care that they were a part of the show at all. Like I could take them or leave them kind of thing.
I went back and forth on them.
It was until I saw him with Jackson. I was like, oh, I mean, I like Ethan now. Like, this is cute. And I don't know what it was before that just they were just nothing to me. But I really liked him with Jackson. So it sort of made me a fan of him too. Which I was always a little bit more of a fan of Ethan than I was Aiden. Aiden got on my nerves a lot more.
That's because he was all testosterone and no femininity to him whatsoever.
Right. And I mean, and another one of our honorable mentions is Aiden and Lydia, which I think that relationship went on way longer than it should have, in my opinion. That was a relationship that I was like, you liked it?
It wasn't like one of my favorite ones. Like, don't get me wrong.
It's no Styles in Lydia.
Well, this is where my problem is. All this time she's with Aiden. I'm like, you could be with Styles and you're with Aiden. Why? I just didn't get it.
I kind of liked how it felt like he was good when he was with her. I felt
exactly.
And
Lydia makes everyone better.
Yeah. And it just, I don't know. I liked seeing her kind of bring out that good in him. That's why I liked it the most.
I agree with that completely.
Yeah.
Well, I don't agree with this. Okay.
No, like, I mean, they're not one of my favorites.
More decent person when he was with Lydia?
I mean, a little bit, but not nearly. And I thought Lydia, to me, I thought it was strange from her being with someone like Jackson and sort of learning from that to then get into a relationship with Aiden. And then when you find out that he's part of this alpha pack, you are still in a relationship with him afterward. Like, it just seemed like a step back for Lydia, in my opinion.
I think that would be true if she was giving herself over to Aiden the way she did with Jackson, but she wasn't doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, we could see even when they needed to distract them, Lydia's like, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a tie there. She cared if he lived or died because Lydia cared about everybody, whether they lived or died. But it wasn't like she was connected him in some deeper way. But because she was with him, Aiden had more pause. And when he died, it was because of what Lydia had convinced him was good and right. And he died saving somebody else, didn't he?
Yeah.
And I mean, that's because of Lydia.
Yeah. His death was still sad. I mean, honestly, his death was sadder than Allison's. I'm not gonna gonna hate me over that.
I'm gonna agree with you there.
And I think it was because of that.
His was really sad.
Because it was just such a redeeming moment for him that I think is what made it so sad. And
I don't think we would have gotten that without him being with Lydia.
Well, that's probably true.
Because it's absolutely, I'm right. Because Lydia softens everybody.
I agree with that.
Because you can't be with her. And I think part of that is, part of her banshiness, I don't know if that's the correct term, but her being a banshee, I'm saying B-A-N-C-H, by the way. There's not B-I-T-C. I'm saying B-A-N, banshee-ness. I think that part of that is, I think there's a charisma attached to that. So as people are drawn to her, you can choose, I think, like with the what was the benefactor, she chose to be kind of a butthead. Lydia chose to care about people above herself in all areas. And so as people are drawn to her, that just kind of bleeds into them.
Yeah.
And I think that without her and Aiden being together, we wouldn't have gotten Aiden we did when he died.
Yeah.
I fully agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree there. That is correct. I still think longer.
That Marina's always right. That is correct.
You can't say that.
Yes.
You are right about Lydia making people better. That part is correct.
I'll play this back for our group and we'll see if that's what you were saying it to.
It's just gonna be a remix. You're right. You're right.
She's insufferable over here. No. But they're still together too long, in my opinion. Longer than they should have been. She should have jumped and been with Styles way before.
I think she should have. Yeah, I think I would agree that romantically the relationship went on too long. But I think that they should have maintained a relationship as long as they did. I don't think it should have been romantic the whole time.
I can agree with that part.
And I think another one that felt kind of weird was Scott and Malia.
Yeah.
Right. And for me, what that was, and like, I don't agree that they had a lot of physical I don't agree with that. I think that for him, it was more, she's part of his pack and he's just used to caring for her. So that's just what it is. That's what it became. I don't think it was, I think she was just there.
I agree.
Same for her. He was just there. So why not? I can't. Go ahead.
No, I was just going, when I say they had physical chemistry, and I mean, what I mean is like, I mean, the actors definitely had the chemistry to do this. And I think that's because of Shelley. I mean, I feel like that woman has chemistry with literally anyone that's on screen with her, because she's beautiful and just, I mean, she's amazing. So, I mean, so physically, like I felt the chemistry between them, but it still felt strange because to me, they had more of a brother sister type bond. So for them to turn it into something romantic was just really strange. I don't know. I didn't care for it at all. And the fact that like, it's not like she just dated your best friend. Like
that was the weird part for me too.
She was in love with your best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it was a serious, I mean, if we look at the course of the show, Malia is the more serious relationship of Styles than even with Lydia. I mean, like,
because they actually had a relationship.
Yeah, I mean, she was his first. I mean, I know we're going to talk about them our next episode, so I don't want to talk too much. But it was definitely a strong relationship. So for your best friend to,
and I think that's probably why they didn't spend so much time on it. But I think for Malia, she was able to separate. So she was very black and white. Yeah, and I think for her it was, well, Styles is gone, and you're here, so let's do this. And I think for Scott though, there's not really, he doesn't really have that black and white excuse. So I think for him, it's, I'm lonely, you're here. And that's what it felt, and that came through on screens. It was like, it felt icky because like,
well, not even just
because they're there.
And now that I'm thinking about it, not even just like, but like Kira and Malia were very close.
Yeah.
So it's just, I mean, we know how upset that Styles got over just Scott kissing Lydia. And I understand that I think no one can argue with the fact that he loves Lydia more than he ever loved Malia, but still, I
wouldn't say that. I think it's a different kind of love for each of them, but I wouldn't say that one is more than the other.
But just for me to think that he wouldn't care that you like were in a relationship with his ex-girlfriend, it's not like, I mean, a girlfriend he dated for like a year, he lost his virginity to. I mean, this was like a serious relationship. Like, weird.
And when they first kissed, it was because she was saying that she didn't want to lose him. It was in the warehouse, the Arjun's warehouse. And the way what they were talking about right before they kiss felt more like, I feel strongly for you, so we must have physical relations. Yeah. And you could have a familial love for someone without, I mean, let's hope you have a familial love for someone without any more physicality to it. Yeah. But they had a familial love. He was her family. Yes. And so that was the other aspect to it, is not only are you guys friends with each other's exes, but you guys are family. And it just, it was like, just weird.
For me, if we had a whole season or so to slowly work into this, maybe.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere.
But it was just like, it was so fast and it was so forced, in my opinion, just because they were the only two left that could be together. And I guess they didn't want to end the show without Scott having someone.
Well, they did though, because in the end, she was going to Paris. Yeah. She wanted to go to Paris to find all the Paris guys.
I mean, did we just want sex on the last season? And this is what we needed? Like,
well, that didn't even happen with them, did it?
In the shower. Yeah, it happened. It was, that's where I'm talking about their physical chemistry.
I forgot about that.
Nice scene. But
what episode in minutes?
I don't remember. But it's a nice scene. And I mean, I'm not even into them as a couple, but that's what I mean. Like, they had physical chemistry. Like, I agree with that. But
okay, fine, I'll watch.
She's like, okay,
don't twist my arm.
Right.
I completely forgot about that scene because I totally fast forwarded through that. I don't remember that.
So they did. I mean, so I think I feel like that was the sole purpose, and we just need like some sort of sexual relationship.
Sad because you don't have to have a teen drama show with relationships only. It doesn't have to be just about that. Have it be about all relationships, not just romantic physical ones.
Well, I mean, Teen Wolf, in my opinion, was never about that. I mean, there's very few, I mean, there are some, but there's very few moments like that throughout the course of the show, I think. It is about other relationships.
They always involve Scott, though.
Right. Fun fact. Okay. The scene where Malia and Styles hook up for the first time, that was evidently supposed to be a full-on sex scene. And
I remember
Dylan
that.
was like, nope, we're not going to do that. That's not what this show is about. Like, we're not going to have a sex scene just for the fact of having one.
And what I like about that is what he said about it was that he himself, as a human being, Dylan O'Brien, does not follow the mantra of we're just going to do sex, have sex just to have sex, even
Just
in
to
his
have
own
it.
personal relationships. That's not
Yeah.
what it's about. And I was
Yeah,
like,
makes
well,
me love him
good for
more.
you.
Yeah. No,
I
it's
was proud
really
of that.
sweet. I mean, he's a good man, and I like that. I mean,
That
never
was
would
one
I
where
thought,
you said it and you're like, Maureen, you'll appreciate this. Go watch this. Listen to what he says about this.
Yeah. And that's what, I mean, would you all ever, I mean, I would never think that I would be like, oh, I'm sure glad that my favorite actor did not have that sex scene. But in this case, I'm like, yeah, that's really sweet. I like that. So
I don't think that's how it should be.
Yeah.
But that's my preference. I'd like to watch shows without fast forwarding through them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he doesn't shy away from those scenes. I mean, but it's like he said, it's not, we're not going to do it just to do it.
But I think if there were more shows that subscribe to that ideology, I wouldn't have to fast forward through 90% of them.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't want to, let's not take it too far because those are some of my favorite parts of these shows. Let's not get carried away here.
It's not mine. All right, so those are our honorable mentions, and those are our first 5 relationships. Now, our part 2, we'll talk about 5 more main relationships and give a couple more honorable mentions. And after the next one, we will be ranking them. So get ready for that.
Gosh, I have to rank them?
Yes. I mean, we know who's going to come out on top.
I got number 1. It's everybody after that I struggle with. What's weird is my number 1 and number 2 would surprise you because I don't know.
Don't tell us yet.
I know.
Build the suspense.
But it's kind of odd to think about.
Well, if you want to submit to us some of your requests for relationships that maybe you don't think we're going to get, or maybe going off of this list, you're thinking, you forgot some key ones, send it to us. Even if they're on our part 2, send them to us. You can do that through emailing us at familyfanclub2021@gmail.com, or go join our Facebook group. And you should really be in that anyway. It's it's Teen Wolf McCall Family Fan Club. And we like talking Teen Wolf. We like showing you pictures of good looking dudes and good looking ladies because it's kind of the criteria for the show.
Yeah.
Is you got to be good looking to be on it. So, and my personal favorite is going to be talked about next week. So, I mean, I love Styles, but J.R. Bourne is kind of my dude.
I know, it's fine. I don't like Cher Dylan anyway, so
just
good.
J.R. looks, and it's not like a creepy, like, oh, J.R. It's just, he like looks better every time he's on the screen. I don't know how he does it.
Go watch the 100.
I know
is in the last couple seasons.
But it's, and like, there's very few people who, as they get older, they get more attractive. And there's 3 I can think of, and that's Kyle Chandler, that is J.R. Bourne, and it's obviously Taylor Kitsch. I mean, it's ridiculous. And JR, like, he looks somehow younger as he gets older.
He does. It's facial hair, guys. Facial hair.
Maybe that's what it is.
Makes you better looking. Because
what do women have? How can women do that? I'm not growing a beard.
It's not fair. It's not fair.
No. One of my favorite, well, actually, one of my main crushes in Hollywood has nothing to do with any of our shows.
Is it Ryan Reynolds?
No. That's my husband's. Mine is Scott Eastwood. I have this thing for Scott Eastwood.
Yeah.
He needs to be in like everything to me.
Because that's Clint Eastwood's son, right? He looks a lot like his dad.
He looks identical to his dad when his dad was younger, which
my mom is in love with Clint Eastwood. Like in love with him.
We can bring him back around to our groups because we just talked about Britt Robertson dated Dylan O'Brien, and then she was in the movie with Scott Eastwood. So
there you go.
We can fill that. We can make that rabbit hole. We can connect it.
We got it.
But if you have a relationship you want us to talk about, hit us up in our email or go to our Facebook group. You can find us on any of our social media, which is Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, on our Fandom Family chats. Find us there. Seek us out. And we'd like to hear from you. We'd like to know what you want to see, what you don't want to see. And we are still working on our webpage. Hopefully that'll be up in the next couple weeks. And hopefully we'll have some merch for you. So we'll see how that works out. Yay. In the meantime, next week, you are going to be hearing Grey's Anatomy is finally back. We are doing our Grey's Anatomy next Wednesday. And the Residents winter finale is going to be this coming Sunday. After that, it's all of our older shows until mid-January. So get ready for that. Get caught up on Teen Wolf, Amanda.
Do it.
I will.
And binge
I
watch
will.
all your other shows. You can watch Teen Wolf, by the way, on Hulu. Is there somewhere else we can watch Teen Wolf?
I think it's just Hulu right now.
So go to Hulu,
Right.
binge watch Teen Wolf, 6 seasons, easy watch. Go and get into that and meet us back here in 2 weeks for part 2 of Teen Wolf romantic relationships. Bye, guys.
Bye.
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 My favorite bye.